Good morning. This is Harriet Lenka in Petro, Costa Rica, taking you on my morning walk with our 4 dogs. And I'm taking this opportunity to share a little bit of my story with you and my adventures that I've gone through over the last year or so to be where I am now. And a year ago exactly, I wasn't in a bad situation at all. I wasn't, I'm not telling a sob story of how I used to be, and my life was good. It was, I own a business in Park City, Utah, a very, very successful day spa, and I work with, everyone who I love works there, and everyone, it's a very dynamic, amazing environment. And I had the opportunity to explore the possibility of selling it. And of course, when I was approached with this opportunity, I was thinking, I'm going to have like $300,000 and 10 years worth of my experience is finally going to come to whatever. And I was like, I don't have to work and blah, blah, blah. So I got wined and dined and everything by this potential buyer because he was going to take over my business because he loved the idea that it was all locals in my business. So I'm breathing heavy as I'm walking uphill. So he gave me a price tag on what he thought my business was worth, and it floored me. It was, needless to say, I did not sell the business, and it just made me refocus and think about, wow, someone who I respect just gave me a price tag on what I've put my heart into for the last 10 years. It was not much. So up to that point, I had defined myself according to that business. So I knew I needed to take a little bit of a different path. So I told my spa manager that I wanted to take a little break to do some writing. And, she supported me, and so I reserved space. And it was probably a week or two later that I went to Costa Rica on a Don Miguel Ruiz yoga retreat. And I sat down with Don Miguel, and I had my piece of paper. I was like, all right, Don Miguel, what are the bullet points to saying yes to love? Because it's like my life was awesome. I just didn't feel a lot of love in my life, though. It's like, on paper, everything was working. I was in a relationship. I had a great job. I had great friends. But I just didn't feel it. And I thought something was wrong with me. So I sat down with Don Miguel thinking he was going to give me the magic bullet points on how to say yes to love, and I would just turn it on like a light switch and all would be well, and I'd be experiencing this full spectrum existence. And he said something that floored me and changed my life. He said, Harriet, you need to say yes to yourself first before you say yes to love. And I'm like, well, shit, man. What does that look like? And so he sent me to like room 13 at the Sugar Beach Hotel. He sent me back to my room and told me to write a list of everything that I loved. I'm throwing my ball for Zona. Everything I loved about myself and my life. Focus on me first. So I wrote that list, and I had a big aha moment. I realized that the life I was living, including my day-to-day activities, my day-to-day thoughts, the current relationship I was in, it just wasn't serving what I loved about myself. So I needed to change it. That's a lot. It's a lot to realize and a lot to take action on. So I needed some fuel for the fire. So I went for a walk. I'm like, shit, man, how am I gonna make all these changes, and how am I gonna, get to what I want? Because on my list, was, going and spending time in Africa and India and serving people who can't help themselves, and that didn't really reflect a lot of the people that I was surrounding myself with. They didn't have visions such as that, and so I was playing small, but not even realizing it, which is what was interesting, because it was just the people who I was always around. So I thought, since that was who I was always around, that was what I needed. So I went for a walk, and in the lobby of our hotel, I saw a flyer for chakra balancing and energy clearing with Adam Lenka. I was like, that's what I need. And so I made an appointment for 11 o'clock the next day, because it was our day off from scheduled activities. The rest of the group went, what'd they do? They went whitewater rafting, horseback riding, zip lining, all the cool shit that you can do in Costa Rica. But I decided I was going to have a spa day. So I made an appointment for 11 o'clock for a session with Adam. And then in the afternoon, I had a chiropractic adjustment. So I was stoked. So the next day rolls around, and I am ready for my session. And I had no idea what to expect. And so 5 minutes after 11, 10 minutes after 11. Shit, and in my world, you're not late for sessions. It's like I'm always prepared 15 minutes early for a session. So I was like, oh crap, did I get the time wrong? And so I was like, no, I really think it was 11 o'clock. And then I look outside and I see this barefoot, board short, one button hippie walking up towards my room, not giving a shit that he's 16 minutes late for our appointment. Or I don't even know if he knew, but he didn't care. So I'm like, oh gosh, doesn't he know he's late? So I'm gonna open up the door and energetically let him know that he's late. So I opened the door, walked out, I'm like, hi. And he just smiled. And yeah, he saw me. He saw right through all my stuff. And it was interesting. It was incredible. And so I started with my little interview of, are you even able to heal me? Because where I've been in the healing world, I've been everywhere. I've gone to Upledger and Cranial. I mean, I've just... So it's not like I was trying to intimidate him, but I just wanted to let him know, the kind of client he was about to be working with. He didn't seem to care. And so he kind of looked past all my interviews and things like that, and so our session began, and it changed my life. So what I saw in that session is another story, but so this is the trail we're on, these are the dogs, and we got joined by the neighbor's dog. So again, what happened in the next session is another story. Thanks for joining me on half this walk so far, and pura vida from Costa Rica.